Hello and welcome to the first episode of the GTLA Lakers 818 podcast. I realize this podcast is coming really late. I had a lot of people hit me up on the Laker page and through email asking me, where's the podcast? You haven't done a podcast this season. Yes, this is the first podcast. Yes, I've been extremely busy. Actually, at one point, I was considering not even doing the podcast, largely because my co-host, really busy. You know, he had a baby recently. He doesn't have that much time anymore. I'm also extremely busy. If you don't know, I'm a lawyer, which takes up a ton of my time. On top of that, you know, I run the Laker social media page on Instagram at LakerMemes818. If you're not following, go ahead and please follow on Instagram. I changed the name over the summer. So the new Instagram name is LakerMemes818. Tons of funny content, highlights, news. You know, it's your source of everything Lakers. Please go follow. Lastly, I'm working on an app right now, a social networking app that is going to come out in the next, probably around New Year's sometime. And that's been like my passion and my number one like goal and dream right now in life. So I'm putting a ton of energy into that. So I haven't had a ton of time to get to the podcast, but I was inspired by the games this weekend and just wanted to do one and, you know, get back on it. So I'm doing this podcast today solo. I've hoped to include, you know, my co-host in the near future when he has some time. And I also have another buddy of mine that might help out too. He just moved back to LA from New York, and we'll see if I can get him on the pod because it's always more fun when you have a convo. But anyways, let's get into this podcast. So the Lakers, after starting the season losing 5 of their first 7 games, have won 7 of their last 9 games. We have a record of 9-7. 2 games above 500. We are currently tied for 7th place in the Western Conference playoffs, baby. Tied for 7th with the Pelicans, I believe. The NBA, let's look at the standings. It's an interesting start to the season out west. The Warriors, look out. Possible implosion in Golden State. Yeah, recently, I'm sure you guys heard, there's a whole blow up with Draymond and Durant. Draymond called him a bitch, and he also said, go ahead and leave. We won before you got here. We don't need you. Speculation is going crazy right now. Durant, is he coming to the Lakers? Is he going to stay in the Bay? Everyone, pretty much every reporter I've watched, everyone's saying he's gone from the Warriors. Now, no one's conclusively can say where he's going to go, but everyone's saying he's going to leave Golden State after this season. When I think about it, I mean, I can't think of what, actually, okay, there's 2 teams I could see him going to. The Knicks, no. The Knicks, I can't see that. The Knicks, they suck. Porzingis, I would not rely on a 7'3" skinny boy who tore his ACL already. Like, I would not, that's not a safe place if I'm trying to go team up with him. Honestly, the only 2 teams I could see him wanting to go to are Lakers and Boston, unfortunately. I don't see Philadelphia, and I don't see Toronto, really. No, I definitely don't see Toronto. Yeah, I really only see Lakers or Celtics. And between those 2, I think the Lakers would have the better chance of getting him. So that'd be crazy. Anyways, let's talk about these standings. So right now, as of, what's today's date? Today is the Monday, November 19th. Thanksgiving coming up this week. Portland is in first place, who we just beat last week. Golden State second, Memphis third, Clippers are fourth, Oklahoma City fifth. They've been winning a ton recently. Denver sixth, Lakers seventh, Pelicans eighth. Now there's 3 teams outside of the playoffs right now that a lot of people would think would make the playoffs, and most likely will. That's the Rockets, the Spurs, and I just lost it. Who was it? Rockets, Spurs, and the Jazz. I definitely think the Rockets will make it in there. I mean, look, from this list, Memphis and the Clippers, I mean, I have a tough time seeing them making the playoffs. Like, if I had to guess today, I would throw Houston and San Antonio. I'd switch them for the Clippers and Memphis. I mean, just have them in the playoffs realistically at the end of the season. And Utah too. I mean, Utah's gonna have to. I think Utah will fit in there somewhere too. I don't know who. Maybe they're gonna take the Pelicans' place, but the Pelicans are good. Denver's good. OKC, they got a good regular season team. So it's gonna be interesting. The West is crazy right now. I think I just saw that the difference between first place and 14th place, which is Minnesota, is only 4.5 game difference. So the West is really tight. But this is good for the Lakers. I mean, the Lakers, realistically, we could grab, we get as high as 2 or 3 in the next week or two. We'll look at our schedule at the end of the podcast. But yeah, let's move on. What are we gonna do today's podcast? I'm gonna just freestyle this podcast mostly. Since we've already played 16 games, I'm not gonna go through all of them. I'll probably just touch on the last few, give my insights into that. We're gonna look at the stats this season so far, team stats and individual stats, and I'm just gonna go through each player and kind of give what I've seen so far, just my opinion, analysis. Why don't we start with some team stats? So the Lakers, so these are just comparing this year so far to last season. I just wanted to do that just so we can kind of see where we're at, what's the difference, what's going on. Points per game. Right now, we are 5th in the NBA in points per game at 116.7 points per game. Compared to last year, we averaged 108 points per game. Now, we got to talk about this because there's a lot going on here, and it's not necessarily related to the Lakers, just the NBA as a whole. The NBA, the defense is, you can't play defense anymore. You just can't play defense anymore in this league. This player movement rule, they've decided to enforce now. Like, if your man is off ball, like, you can't even touch him or else they're gonna call a foul. So everyone's cutting free willy-nilly, just getting layups to the basket. I'm not hating when I say this, but you know something's weird when, like, Blake Griffin's getting 50, Derrick Rose everyone's getting 50. Everyone's hit 50 this season already. It's just not. I mean, it's just change. It's just a change. So the Lakers averaging 116. They're averaging about 9 points more than last year. I mean, it's definitely. I mean, our offense is not the problem. We have really good offense. It's the defense, which we'll talk about. Let's move on. Field goal percentage. This season, we're shooting 47.8% from the field, 6th in the NBA currently. Last year, we shot 46.1%. So it's a nice little increase. 3-pointers. It's mostly the same as this year from last year. This year, we're making 11 out of 33s, which is, us making 11 threes a game. That's 15th in the NBA. Last year, we made 10 threes a game out of 29 shots. So mostly the same. I mean, but our percentage has gone up a little bit. This year, we're shooting 36% from the three-point line, which is 11th in the NBA. Last year, we shot 34.5%. Free throw percentage, shooting 73% from the free throw line, which is 23rd in the NBA. Not great, but better than last year. Last year, we shot 71.4%. Turnovers slightly better this season, but not great, averaging 15.4 turnovers per game, which is 20th in the NBA, meaning 20th, like, worse. And last year we averaged 15.8 turnovers per game, so not that big a difference. Offense. Let's look at the offensive rating and defensive rating. I honestly don't know exactly how they calculate these, but I know they're pretty decent indicators of offense and defense in the league. Offensive rating is 111 right now. which is 9th in the NBA. Pretty good. Compared to last year, our offensive rating was 106, which was 23rd in the NBA. So our offense has jumped 14 places in the offensive rating statistic. Defensive rating. Last year, we were 109. Sorry. This year, we're 109, which is 20th in the NBA. Last year, we were 107, which was 13th in the NBA. I don't have a lot of insight into those numbers, but I did want to just say them. I don't know if you guys, if this is your first time listening to this podcast, this is not a podcast for advanced stats and advanced analytics. No, this is just pure basketball talk. Just mostly offering insights and opinion on what you see with the naked eye, and I don't really I like to look at general stats. I'm not some analytics nerd. I don't really. It's cool, it's fun, but it's not my thing exactly. Let's look at pace. So by the way, on the defensive rating, so we dropped. So last year we were 20th in the NBA, our defensive rating. This year we were 20th so far. Last year we were 13th place. Yeah, our defense is it is atrocious. I mean, just think about this. On Saturday when we played Orlando scored 130 points on us with no overtime. I mean, I remember they hit 100 at the end of the third quarter. And you remember the days when in the NBA when 75 points at the end of three quarters was the norm? Now we're giving up pretty much every game this year. I feel like we're in the 90s, both our team and the other team at the end of three quarters, but it's just so different than what it used to be. Pace, we're 4th in the NBA in pace at this number is 105. And last year we were 3rd in pace at 101. So you can see the pace in the NBA is picking up, because last year we were 3rd with 101. This year we're 4th with 105. I'm also not exactly sure how they calculate the pace statistic, but whatever. Opponent field goal percentage. Opponents are shooting 46.1% from the field against us. That puts us at 16th place in the NBA. Last year, team shot worse. They shot 45.6%, which had us at 10th in the NBA. Again, so far everything we've seen, the offense is going up, defense. Opponent 3-point field goal percentage. This year, teams are shooting 36.3% against us, which puts us at 19th in the NBA. Last year, we were really good. We were 3rd in the NBA. We allowed only 34.6% from the 3-point line. Blocks per game, not a big deal, really. I mean, we have JaVale McGee now, which is night and day versus Brook Lopez in there. Although Brook Lopez, he had some decent blocks for the season, but McGee is just eating everything up, and the addition of Tyson Chandler, too. You remember his game-saving block against the Hawks. So right now, we're averaging 6.1 blocks per game, which is 7th in the NBA. Last year, we averaged 4.7 blocks per game, which was 17th in the NBA. This stat is interesting. Opponent points in the paint. This year, we're pretty much dead last. We're in 29th place, allowing 53.4 points in the paint. Last year, we were dead last. We were the worst we allowed the most points in the paint. We gave up 49 points. So you can just see how the numbers are just all up across the board. Statistics are up, player point per games are up, teams are scoring more. So that's that for some team stats that I just wanted to touch on. Let's move on let's talk about some of the players. This is gonna be fun. I guess we should start with LeBron James, averaging 29, 8 and 7, typical LeBron numbers. It's changing to a new team, playing with young guys. He's just adjusting. At no point, to me, I hate when the media reacts to every new thing it's every day there's a new thing. One game LeBron's the best player on earth. The next day he plays bad. Oh, what's going on with LeBron? The next day he plays good again. Oh, he's so good. There's no consistent analysis on it. But I mean, I wasn't surprised by his. I don't even know if you want to call it a slow start, but Yeah, I mean, he's just adjusting. Like, this is what he does. Like, I just saw something today that when he joined the Heat, he was 8-7 to start. When he joined the Cavs the second time, he was 8-7 to start. With this Laker team, he's 8-7 to start. But if you think about it, it's actually probably more impressive, his 8-7 with the Lakers, because he is in the tougher Western Conference, playing with younger guys who have never been there before. I mean, for him to start 8-7 with D Wade and Chris Bosh out east versus 8-7 with, you know, Ingram and Lonzo and Kuzma, these guys, I mean, it's pretty impressive compared relative to what he's done before. So no reason to panic. Any Laker fan panicking about our record, please don't. Like, it takes time to adjust. So two things recently. Well, LeBron had 2 blowout games recently. I mean, he had a 44-point game. And on our last game against Miami, he blew up for 51. Just, man, he's been popping threes like it's nothing. Like, I've been noticing that he like jumps even less now in his 3-pointers. Like, he's just so strong. Like, even now he's pulling it from 30 feet and like barely jumping, which is crazy. He's hit 14 of his last 23-pointers. On the season, he's shooting 40% from 3-point line, which is great. I remember when I looked at that stat a week and a half ago, it was 29%. So he's just been shooting really well recently. Now, I wouldn't rely on it though. I love it when the 3-ball goes in, but the idea of relying on LeBron to pop 28-foot 3-pointers like game in and game out, I mean, that would not be my strategy if I was coaching the team. I mean, for sure, yeah, I wouldn't tell LeBron not to shoot those shots, but that would not be my game plan to rely on LeBron 26, 27 footers. Like, you know, that's just me. But yeah, we'll talk about that. But his defense, we got to talk about LeBron's defense. Virtually, he's just not playing defense anymore, really. I mean, he's just picking and choosing the spots. LeBron, this is what everyone has to realize about LeBron. When you're thinking about what LeBron is doing, you have to put yourself into a business mentality. This guy is the ultimate businessman. And I swear, when you watch him play and you hear the words he talks, what he says, it's all like geared towards it's just all like a business mentality. And what I mean by that is this. LeBron knows he signed a 4-year contract with us. He's already said his goal would be to play with his son in the NBA. That means he would have to play another at least 4 years plus 1, so 5 years. That's if they change the rule to get rid of the requiring kids to go to college for a year. So he would have to play at least 5 seasons. Now, if they don't change that rule, if kids have to go to college for a year or whatever, then that means he needs to stay 6 seasons. So he knows this. And what he knows, even though he's not that old age-wise, he's 33. I mean, the amount of miles on his body, it's different. Now think about it like this. I was doing the math. So he's made it to 8 straight finals, right? Let's just say he averages over that stretch playing 5 games a round. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a little more. It's probably in between 5 and 6. But let's just say he plays 5 games per round. That means he played at 20 games per year in the playoffs. 20 times 8. What's 20 times 8? 160. That's basically that means 160 games he's played, playoff games, over the last 8 years. That means in an 8-year stretch, he not only played the entire regular season in the NBA, you have to add on 2 more regular seasons to that. Just say do 160 divided by 80, or divided by 82, you know what I mean? It's 2 seasons. That's insane. Think about that. This dude's played 2 more full seasons than everyone else over the last 8 years without extending the amount of time, needed for that. Like, it was just, think about it. Teams that don't make playoffs, they go home in April. Some teams get bounced in the first round, but this dude's made it to 8 straight finals. 160 extra games over the last 8 years. It's crazy. So, and basically what he's done, you can just tell. And it's not, I want to say this too. I think a lot of Laker fans maybe did not watch LeBron James over the last couple of years in Cleveland. This is not new what he's doing. This isn't him not playing defense. That's not new. He's been doing that. He strategizes. Look, if he needs to lock down, he can lock down for sure. But he knows just game in and game out, like he needs to conserve some energy, and he's just decided I need to do that by not running around as much. And if you look, the Lakers, he's never guarding anyone that good to start the games. Like Ingram's usually starting on, the good shooting guard or small forward or something. You'll notice LeBron, if he gets fouled on a layup, he doesn't get back on defense, just complains to the ref. I mean, these are all things you can criticize him for, but no, it's like, it's just a business decision. I mean, he's not, I remember one play, who was it against? Against that Raptors game where we got clobbered. He could have taken a charge. I remember someone drove down the lane. He just moved out the way. He's like, it's a business decision. Like, I don't have the energy to take a charge right now. But he's just so good. You see what he's doing on offense. He's so good as a leader, at everything else, the intangibles, that you're not going to argue with it. Like, you're just not. Like, I'm not. Like, look, I love defense. I want players to play defense, but I'm not going to tell LeBron, hey, dude, you need to start playing defense. Like, this dude knows what he's doing. He's smarter than ever. I'm sure he's done tons of analytics and stuff on figuring out what he needs to do to conserve energy to last another 5 years. Anything else on LeBron? Yeah, he's going for, he's up there in the MVP race right now. I'm sure he's a top 5 candidate at the moment. Well, we're in 7th place, but I think the Lakers are starting to gel right now, and we're probably gonna start winning more games. So we'll see where that goes. Let's move on to, let's just go by points per game, I guess. So next leading scorer on the team is Kyle Kuzma, averaging 17 points per game, 5 rebounds, no assists really, no steals, no blocks. Kuzma, you guys know if you listen to the podcast last year, I'm a pretty big Kuzma guy. And it's clear so far this season that he and LeBron have great rapport. Kuzma, he's really impressed me with his off-ball offense. He's cutting, getting layups, he's curling around screens, like LeBron's finding him, bounce pass layups. The only thing about Kuzma so far this season, which it will turn around, is just the shooting, the 3-point percentage. He's shooting under 30% from 3 right now. Which is, compared to last year he shot, let's look at this. Last year he shot almost 37% from 3. And right now it's under 30%. So, that's going to pick up. And once think about it, he's averaging 17 without being able to hit that 3 right now too well. So, that number, it should definitely, I could see it getting up to 18 points per game this year. Anything else about the Kuz? Shooting good from 2s, actually. Shooting 57% on his 2-pointers. And that's, again, just from all the off-ball movement. He's getting layups. Like, he's getting layups from LeBron. Kuzma, he's doing his thing. And once we see that shooting, the 3-point percentage go up and he's popping more of those 3s, it's going to be a fantastic season for him. Let's move on to Brandon Ingram, who I have a lot to say about Mr. Ingram. Ingram's averaging 15.2 points per game, 4.5 rebounds, 2 assists, under a steal, under a block. Interestingly, now, if you know anything about PR, it's purely like an offensive measure, but he's actually right now 8th on the team in PR behind LeBron, Kuzma, McGee, Lance, Rondo, and Lonzo. Ingram, he came into the season, when he came in preseason, he looked like, I thought he had taken the leap, like, after I saw the first few preseason games. But I wouldn't say he's exactly taken that leap, the one I thought he did, or I was hoping. Now, I read a lot about him this summer. He went home to North Carolina and basically was working out with Jerry Stackhouse. That's where he's from, North Carolina. And that's also where Jerry Stackhouse is from. He was just working out with Jerry Stackhouse like all summer. I didn't really realize that. He was kind of on his own this summer doing his thing. So you put the work in. Like, I have no doubts that Ingram, BI was putting the work in. But the one thing I'm noticing about Ingram is, as opposed to, let's say, Kuzma and Hart and Lonzo, he likes to play at a slower pace. His game is very, like, one thing I'll say about Ingram, for example, like, I feel like I've never seen him sprinting while dribbling, while he has the ball. Like, if he's dribbling up the court, even if it's transition, he's just like kind of, I don't know, just because he's so long, but it's like I feel like he's just never sprinting. Like, I think he just, in his head, he likes to play the game at a bit of a slower pace. You'll notice, think about when he catches the ball in the wing and they ISO him, he like takes like a good 4 seconds before he like makes a move. He just kind of like jabs a bit, is kind of seeing what's going on. I do wish he would kind of was able to speed up his game, because this team is, I mean, and just listen to Luke Walton or Magic Johnson, all they're talking about is pace and moving the ball and pushing it. And I feel like he should be a killer. Like, he should look as good as Kuzma off ball, like cutting and getting like easy buckets. But I always find he takes tough shots. Like, he loves, and one thing I'm not loving is that he really likes taking tough 2-pointers, like long twos. Like, he loves taking 15-footers, 12-footers, 17-footers, and it's a great shot to have. But we all know the NBA is changing to the 3-point line. And look at this, 3-pointers a game. LeBron shooting 6 threes a game, Kuzma shooting 5 threes a game, Josh Hart shooting 5 threes a game, Lonzo shooting 4.5 threes a game, KCP shooting over 3 threes a game, and Brandon Ingram only 1.93 attempts per game. And he's second in minutes on the team. He's averaging the second most minutes behind LeBron. Just like I was saying all last year, like, I wish he would pop that 3 some more. Just pop it. And the percentage is down, like Kuzma too. That will go up. Right now he's shooting 30% from the 3-point line, which is
that's terrible.
Compared to last year where he shot 39%. So he's down 9%. It'll go up. It'll definitely be above 36% this season. I hope it's 39. That'd be fantastic. But he needs to shoot it more. He's a good shooter. I always say, when I used to watch him at Duke, I mean, his game was shooting threes. Like, he was just, go watch Duke highlights of Brandon Ingram. He was shooting that thing like it was nothing. Like, I thought coming out he was a shooter, but then so far in the NBA, his game's definitely been more like about driving to the basket. And now it's, I mean, look, I'm sorry. Look, I'm just gonna say it. Like, you're not Kobe. I mean, you don't have that Kobe skill yet. I mean, you shouldn't be shooting 16-foot fadeaways with a defender on you. He comes around screens and like pump fakes and then shoots a 15-footer. It's like, dude, just go. And another thing that kind of, I love Ingram, but I'm just keeping it real on what I see. One thing that does bother me too about Ingram, he doesn't dunk it when he clearly can dunk it when he drives down the lane. Like, so many times, like, he just lays it in or goes up like kind of soft or weak. Like, dude, you're so long. Like, you probably barely have to jump to dunk. Like, if you get down the lane and your hand is, if I see a layup where, Brandon Ingram, his hand is only 8 inches from the basket, I know he could have dunked that thing and brought the crowd to a roar and got everyone's energy up. But energy, that's one thing about him. I always said it last year. He's kind of been like, he's Mr. Stud, or he's a dud or a stud, most nights. And one thing that's good that I looked at before the podcast that I like is he's only had one game this season where he had under 10 points. Now that I do like, because last year it was like he'd have 4 points, then 13, then 5, then 18. Then I think you just gotta, like, you're too good to not. You're too good to not score at least 12, 13 points every single night. Like, I don't care if it's off night. Like, you're too good. So just keep that up. He's averaging 15, which is down. Last year he averaged 16, but of course LeBron's there, and you can tell Ingram is definitely. You can tell he needs probably the most of all, like, the young studs, the most adjustment to playing with LeBron. Because, I mean, Ingram, he likes to have the ball in his hands. The Lakers have had him playing point guard since his rookie year, and now you bring in a small forward in LeBron James, who is the best point guard in basketball, pretty much. And so the opportunities for him to play point guard or to be the playmaker and creator are just not the same as it was last year. Plus, you add the addition of Rondo now, that takes about a little bit more away. Now, one thing I do love that I learned about Ingram this year that I actually didn't really know, but it makes sense is, this dude is a G. Like, this dude is not afraid of nothing. This is the type of dude that will squabble with anyone. Like, and even though he's skinny as hell, you can tell this dude's not afraid. That Rockets fight, that was sick. Like, I mean, I'm not condoning or saying like I want Ingram to throw punches in every fight, but I just didn't know that was him. Actually, I didn't know that was. But now you've seen it. You've seen it in a couple games after that. Like, I remember the Portland game, Nurkic like got him to Josh Hart, and like Ingram was the first one to like get up in Nurkic's face and be like, "What's up?" And I remember actually last year, Lonzo's rookie year, when Jamal Murray did that dribble behind Lonzo at the end of that one game, that it was Randall and Ingram that like went up in Murray's face like right after that. And then just even last night against Miami, Ingram got like put back, dunked on by what's his name, Derek Jones, and like Ingram was just pissed. Like, he didn't like Derek Jones had his legs on Ingram's shoulders for a second, and yeah, I was just pissed. He told him something. He was just cussing him like, "Dude, don't ever do that. I'll knock you out." So I do like that part of Ingram. Dude's definitely got like some G in him. So that's what's up. Anything else about BI I wanted to talk? Look, this I don't like. Averaging 2.3 assists and 2.1 turnovers. I mean, the assist to turnover ratio is not great. I mean, someone like him should. But again, like we were saying, they brought LeBron and Rondo, so maybe not as much opportunities to average assists, but I don't like that assist to turnover ratio. Anything else about BI that I wanted to touch on? No, let's move on to JaVale McGee. Hey, this guy has been the surprise of the season so far. Absolutely killing it. There's no one, you cannot be a Laker fan this year and not love what JaVale McGee has given us. Averaging 13.4 points per game, 7 rebounds, 2.5 blocks. He's second in PER on the team right now. And it's good that he's averaging 25 minutes, which is, I mean, that's probably the max he can do. And the Lakers realized that, which is why we went and got Tyson Chandler. I read that JaVale McGee, he actually has he basically has asthma. And so it's a reason why, and I think it's just his body type too. Like, you don't want this, I mean, you'd love to, you wish you could, but he just can't play like 30 plus minutes a night. Like, throughout his career, he's been like pretty much capped at like 20. So 20, I envision his 25 going down even. And you know why? One thing that we'll talk about when I get to Tyson Chandler, which I do love that Luke Walton has done. If you notice, ever since Tyson Chandler came, Tyson Chandler plays in crunch time. He played since day one. I remember who was the first game he played. I can't remember who it was against, but even that game, he played the last 5 minutes of that game. And so, you know, JaVale McGee starts, but Tyson Chandler is finishing games, and I think that will continue. And I anticipated McGee was going to have a great year because he has so many passers and good ball handlers on his team. I mean, you have a center like McGee in the NBA today, surrounded by LeBron, Rondo, Lonzo, Ingram, Lance Stevenson. Like, this dude's going to eat. Like, he's just going to eat alley-oops, drop passes for a dunk. You know, not too much Shaqtin' a fool so far. You know, one thing that you can tell about McGee is like, he is like, once he goes or once he makes some moves, like, he has no, like, he's just like, it's almost like what I used to call Randall. Like, he has like a Flintstone basketball mentality. Like, there's no counter move he has. It's like if he dribbles towards the basket, he's gonna go for a dunk. Like, it's not, even if it's not there, he just has it's almost like he can't react quick enough to make a second move. It's just whatever his energy puts him, wherever his body or his mind puts him, he's just gonna go for it. Like, there's no, like, you just can see it. It's really funny. I didn't explain that well, but maybe I'll explain it later next time. Let's move on to Josh Hart. I'm loving Josh Hart right now. I'm loving everything he's doing for us. This dude has been super solid. Definitely stepped his game up. You remember he won Summer League MVP. Right now he's averaging 11 points per game, 4 rebounds, 1.4 steals per game, which is nice, and half a block. Josh Hart is just solid. This is the role player you want. Like, he's almost like, he actually reminds me of like a Derek Fisher. He's like a Derek Fisher shooting guard. Not that they play the same, because Derek Fisher was like popping. Well, Josh Hart does pop threes too, but like, just in a sense, he's just a solid dude. Someone you know you can rely on game in, game out. Someone who will provide offense when you need it. Always playing defense. And the great thing about him, just his versatility. The guy can play. He can guard a lot of fours in the NBA today, which is fantastic. And you'll notice it's crazy. You'll see in games, if he's in the game with like Kuzma, or if he's in the game with Ingram, like, he'll guard the 4. Like, they'll tell him, no, even though he's 5 inches shorter than both of those guys, he's guarding the 4s if they need to. And he's shooting great so far. He's shooting 43% from 3 so far this season, which is fantastic. I hope he can, if he stays above 40% this season, that would be amazing. I'm trying to think what else. I mean, I only have good things to say about him. How many minutes? Let's see. He's averaging 26 minutes a game. So he's averaging 4 less minutes than Kuzma and about 5 less minutes than Ingram. Now, this is not shade or hate on BI, but I for some reason would love to see, and just as an experiment, I'm not saying this is going to work or this is better, but I actually really think if they put Hart at the 2 and brought BI off the bench, which I know they won't, they're just not going to do that, but I feel like that for some reason would be cool. And why I think that, it has nothing to do about negativity on Ingram. I just think, like, I mean, Hart, he's shooting the 3 well. He has great rapport with LeBron. He likes to run, like, he just goes. Like, he'll sprint, like, he sprints with the ball. And that way you have BI come in for LeBron. Now he can kind of be the LeBron on the court. Like, he doesn't have to play. He can just come in and be the LeBron, like, just sub out for him or something. I don't know. That's just something I was thinking about, but I don't think that's gonna happen. Which is fine. Let's talk about Lance Stevenson. Lance will make him dance. Started the season really well. Kind of been struggling recently. Although he had a good game, was it last night? I know he had 19. I can't remember if that was against Orlando or Miami. He's averaging 9 points on the season, 3.5 boards, 2 assists. I love Lance. I've loved Lance for the last decade because he's so entertaining. Dude has one of the sickest crossover highlights in NBA history. I mean, this dude has nasty handles. Every time he gets the ball, it's like, it's something flashy. Like, even just dribbling up the court, like, he'll just run in a funny way or do like a little move or, I remember earlier in the season, he had a really good stretch. I think that was when Rondo and Ingram were suspended. I remember he saved the Denver game. I remember he had those 2 huge threes in the middle of the fourth quarter when we were down like 10, I remember. But recently he's kind of been in the doghouse for Luke, which I think, I don't know, I feel like he was put in the doghouse kind of quickly, but he has been kind of shooting bad long 2s, and he just hasn't been shooting that well. But no, I love Lance, and I can't say anything negative about him because I really like the guy. So move on to Rondo. Rondo averaging 8.5 points per game, 4.5 rebounds, 6.5 assists, a steal per game. You know, Rondo's just, I mean, he's doing his thing. He's just being Rondo. What I do like that I've noticed is, like, he does attack the basket. Now, he's not a great finisher, but I feel like I've seen a bunch of times where, like, he attacked the basket, put up a layup that bricked, but then because he, like, sucked in the center, like McGee or Chandler just got like a dunk right away, just offensive rebound, just dunk. Now he just fractured his hand against I'm forgetting the games now, but was it Orlando? Or no, it was Portland. Fractured his hand against Portland last week. He's going to be out. They said around 4 weeks, about a month. Now this gives Lonzo, who we're going to talk about soon, a great opportunity. He played really well when Rondo was suspended after the Rockets fight. So I think that's a good thing for Lonzo. But Rondo, he's definitely, the guy is a coach on the court. The guy is coaching when he's not in the game. The guy is always talking. You can tell LeBron likes having Rondo around, just to be like the vocal leader majority of the time. I think LeBron, he's definitely a vocal leader, but I don't think he's the type of dude who's gonna like consistently be coaching and talking to players throughout a game. Like he needs to stay, keep his energy. He needs to conserve himself. But Rondo, dude's just talking his mouth out. And he's had so many hilarious moments this season already. Like, dude is like a troll on the court, just messing with other teams, just high-fiving opponents and talking to fans. And the guy is funny. I'm glad that he started the season at point guard. It was kind of a saving. It was kind of. I think it's a good thing that Lonzo's starting now. But no, Rondo, that's you can't complain about. If he's your backup point guard, that's a solid backup point guard. Let me see what he's shooting from three. He's shooting 43% from three. Obviously not a lot of attempts, but that's good. 43%. Can't complain about that. And that fight with we don't need to really get into the fight, but that was funny with Chris Paul. Everyone in the NBA has been waiting for Chris Paul to get decked, so that was funny. Let's move on to KCP. Well, him and Lonzo. Let's just talk about Lonzo because him and KCP are averaging the same amount of points per game, 7.8 points per game for Lonzo. 5 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 steal. And he's only had 2 blocks this season, actually, on the whole. So he's only averaging, his blocks per game are really low as compared to last year. But under 2 turnovers, that's good. All right, Lonzo, lots to talk about here. Let's just talk about the defense first. This guy is honestly one of the best. When he's engaged, look, okay, let me just feel like this. One of the best off-ball defenders in the NBA already, I would say. Like, you can just, even last year, how many times would he just come out of nowhere, double team and just rip it from someone or play the passing lanes? His off-ball IQ is off the charts. And he does this thing, it's amazing to me, where like a player on the other team will be holding the ball or be getting a rebound, and somehow Lonzo's eyes, it's like he sees it in slow motion. He's able to just like pop his hand and just get the ball free with a steal, and it's incredible because I play basketball a lot, and when I see him do that kind of stuff, I'm like, wow, like your hand-eye coordination has to be insane to be able to, because it's like he has like a split, not even a second to poke the ball from someone, and he just gets it clean. I loved when he cookied Jamal Murray. That Nuggets game was sick, which I'll have to talk about. Let's talk about his on-ball defense. Now, he's not always super engaged, but when he is like in lockup mode, and he is an incredible on-ball defender. And even when he's not, he's a good on-ball defender. I think he definitely needs help learning how to get around screens still, and that's something everyone needs help with, especially he's so young. But no, his defense is really good, and that's pretty cool, especially in the NBA, which has become a more point guard driven league. To have a solid defender at that position is a really good thing. When we played the Blazers last week, Lonzo the statistics on Lillard shooting when Lonzo was on him was really bad, which is really good for us. Talk about his offense. Dude has airballed at least 8 or 9 shots this season. I mean, I'm talking about like wide open jumpers. Like, I mean, I'm not, I play basketball casually. Like, I'm not a hooper or anything in any way. Well, I played basketball my whole life, but I'm just not. I just play like at LA Fitness all the time. And I'm telling you, the air balls he's had this year, like if I shot those same shots, I would hit the rim at least. Like, and what's crazy about it is, I was joking with my friend. It's like this season, it seems either he swishes it or it airballs, which is really weird. So it's all mental. Lonzo, he's one of those people you can just tell by his body language whether he's engaged in the game or not. Like it's like an open book reading that guy when he's on the court. Sadly, most of the time I feel like he's disengaged. I mean, how much? There's so much we can get into with his offense. I mean, okay, just think about it like this: the last 2 games. Last night against Miami, 2 points. The night before against Orlando, 0 points. It's unacceptable, really. And I know, and there's so many people I see saying, "Oh, Alonzo, he doesn't need to score. He's effective in every other way." It's like, no, the team already has good offense. No, that's not how I feel like you should think about it. I mean, the way you should think about it is like this: 2 different things. First of all, we compare this dude to. We're gonna compare him to the kids, the Jason Kidd, the Nash. He's not like Stockton so much, but a Kidd, Nash, Stockton, just a pure pass first point guard. Now, what did those guys all do? Those dudes were putting up at least, 14, 15 a game while doing all the other intangibles. I mean, what would Jason Kidd's career have been like? Just hypothetically, he was putting up 6 points per game, but also was doing like 9 rebounds and 9 assists. Now, this dude would be getting roasted. Like, now the thing is, over long term, it's just not. I don't see it sustainable. If he's not able to put up 10 points per game, like think about it like this: if the other team knows you can't shoot and they're sagging off you, that makes it harder for all your teammates to score, because now you have one defender, Lonzo's defender, I'm talking about, just sagging off him, able to play help side on everyone else. Like, that's not a good look for the team. Definitely needs to pick it up on the offensive end. I mean, and the thing is, it's all mental. It's all mental with him. I'm gonna offer my opinion on Lonzo, because I was huge on him coming out of the draft. I really think the Lakers have he's just been poorly coached so far. And what I mean by that is this: when you have a Jason Kidd type person, or a LeBron, or a Nash, you put the ball in the dude's hands and let him go and be creative. Like Lonzo, I swear, most of the time it looks like he's the 4th point guard on this team. It's like LeBron, then Rondo, then Ingram sometimes before Lonzo. Like, Lonzo to me is not a 2 guard. Think the thought that Lonzo could play the 2. Now, I'm not saying he can't play off ball all the time, but the thought of him being like a 2 out there, like for a whole stretch of 8 minutes, to me is ridiculous. Like, first of all, he can't even shoot. Actually, maybe I should take that back, because even though he's airballed a bunch of shots, well, now his 3-point percentage dropped to 34%. But he was above 40% for a while. But no, you can't be airballing shots and shooting, what is he shooting? 60% from the free throw line and call yourself a shooter. Like, that's just not, I'm sorry, that's just not going to be the case. And second of all, it's like you just give the creator the ball. I mean, obviously you have LeBron and he has to have the ball too, but I really feel like Lonzo should have the ball in his hands more. Like, he should be the one creating. But then at the same time, I can say this too, like, when he does have the ball, he seems to just give it up like instantly. Like, a lot of times he's so disengaged, so not aggressive, and I don't know, just a lot to figure out with him, just psychologically, I think. The dude had a ton to deal with. I agree with Skip Bayless when he always says this. Lonzo had to deal with one of the most scrutinized rookie years of all sports in all of history, just because of his dad and being on the Lakers, and the kid is like, he seems like a pretty quiet kid, and it can be, pressure, which I talked about on a previous podcast. Like they say, pressure can either bust pipes or it can create diamonds, and we're still trying to see what it's gonna do, but I still have high hopes for Lonzo. I just think, I mean, hopefully with Rondo out for this month, hopefully he can find a rhythm and just, this is all I would ask for Lonzo. Like, just get, I mean, at least during his sophomore year for the rest of 2018, just get 8 points every game. Just get at least 8 points every game. That's all I would ask. I mean, last year he averaged 10 points per game. Now we have a bunch of people. His minutes are down. I mean, let's look at the minutes. He's averaging 26 minutes per game this year. Last year he averaged 34.2 minutes per game. So he's playing 8 less minutes per game than last year, which is pretty crazy. I mean, and I'm having another criticism about Luke Walton. To me, the idea, like, I remember there was a game, I think it was the Timberwolves game, but I think there's been others too, where Lonzo didn't even see a minute of fourth quarter action, not even a second. To me, that is insane. Like, that, I mean, that is crazy. How can your starting point guard, someone who's in the rotation, not play a minute in the fourth quarter? I don't care how bad he's playing. You play him. Like, he needs to play those minutes. I mean, I don't care if he just plays the first 3 minutes of the fourth quarter. There should never be a game Lonzo does not play a second in the fourth quarter. I don't care how bad he's playing. That is poor coaching to me. And not because I think, that's going to mess him up. Oh, he's going to think he sucks. No, I don't think that. I just think it's petty. It's just petty. What player doesn't play in the fourth quarter that starts? Like, not even a second. That's ridiculous. I'd like to see Lonzo's minutes go up. Let's see. He's averaging 26 minutes per game. Rondo's averaging 25. I'd like to see, towards the end of the season, Lonzo's minutes going up and Rondo's going down. That's what I would like to see. And obviously Lonzo has to earn it, but all right. Anything else I want to say about Lonzo? Yeah, just stop airballing, bro. Just come on, please. You gotta stop the airballs. Let's talk about Tyson Chandler. Great pickup. I was saying all season. I mean, it was clear the glaring hole in the Lakers roster coming into preseason and the regular season was not having a backup center. Zubac, I'm sorry, this dude just. I don't know how long he's gonna last in the NBA. I don't think that long. Dude can. I mean, he's got a nice offensive side to his game, but dude cannot play defense at all. I mean, he just can't pick up his feet. He's like really heavy-footed, like just like how reminds me of like Brook Lopez. Like he just like. Actually, watching him play defense is pretty funny. Like it actually makes me laugh a lot of times. Just the way his feet like bounce and move around. He tries really hard, but. So Tyson Chandler, great pickup. I love the reports that apparently they're saying that James Jones, who is part of Phoenix's management and who was on all of LeBron's Miami and Cleveland teams, well, not the first round of Cleveland teams, but the second round, is helped out his boy Bron by releasing Tyson Chandler from the Suns, and that's awesome. And I totally believe it. I'm telling you, this is what I'm talking about when I talk about LeBron's business mentality. Like, he has his hand on so many things in the NBA and outside the NBA. Like, it's beautiful. Like, why do you make connections? You make connections so you can get hooked up later in life. And his boy James Jones hooked him up with a nice pickup. Like, Tyson Chandler, just solid. Like I said before, you can rely on this guy. 18th year in the NBA, pretty old. But for what we need him for, which is just about 15 to 20 minutes a night, he can definitely do what we need him to do, which is basically just be a JaVale McGee. Just guard the paint, catch lobs, get the rebounds, talk on D. I mean, the guy knows what he's doing. Won a championship in Dallas. He's from SoCal, which is great. He turned down playing for the Warriors to come to the Lakers because he said he could only see himself in a Laker jersey at this point in his career. That again is because he's from SoCal and was a Laker fan growing up. You love to hear things like that. And one of my favorite things about Tyson that we got, also former Defensive Player of the Year, And one of my favorite things about getting him is the fact that he and LeBron played together in the 2012 Olympics. I think that stuff to me is great. Like, if players have had rapport like that, and Tyson Chandler was a starter on that team too, you have to remember. He started with LeBron on that 2012 Olympic team, and all Tyson Chandler was responsible for on that Olympic team, catching lobs, guarding the paint, getting rebounds, which is all we're asking him to do here. So that was a really solid pickup. Other names on this list, I don't know if they're worth talking about. Zubac barely played. Now that we got Chandler, is never going to play. Michael Beasley barely played. Svi Mikhailiuk hasn't played too much. He had a nice game against, I think, Orlando, was it? He hit a few threes. But we have so many guards on this team that there's just not a lot of minutes for him right now. But I do like what he brings, the shooting. I want to see what he's shooting from the three right now so far. He's shooting, I know it's not great. Yeah, only 30%, but obviously it's a really low sample size. Mo Wagner, he just came back. He played. He hasn't even played really. Oh, I forgot to talk about KCP. Let's talk about KCP. KCP, well, he started this season horribly. Like,
that guy could not hit water if he fell out of a boat.
Seriously, but he's picked up the last 3 or so games. I think he's hit double figures in the last 3 or 4 games. Last night against Miami, he was really good. He scored 19 points, hit some threes. If KCP can be the KCP that he is, this Laker team is way better, because the way he started this season, I remember he started the season, he was shooting 35% from the field, could not hit a shot. Laker fans calling for this dude to be dropped, traded. If you listen to the podcast last year, you know I like KCP. Like, I don't love him, but I like him. Like, I think he's solid. Like, but what he was doing the first 10 games of the season was just atrocious. But let's see now what he's shooting from the three. He's shooting 33% from the three-point line. So, hey, it's better than Kuzma. Shooting 40% from the field, which is up from what it was earlier this season. So, no, I think if KCP can be, because basically he's what? We have Rondo off the bench. We have Hart. He's basically like our 8th man, really. With Rondo out, he's like the 7th man. But if a solid KCP is your 8th man, that means your team that's a deep team at the very least, and our team is deep. Yeah, KCP, just gotta keep it up, bro. Stay hot, stay shooting. All right, that's it for just my random individual player analysis. Feel free to argue with me or anything. Hit me up on the page if you're Laker Memes 818 on Instagram. I will respond to any messages I receive, as I always do. Hit me up, tell me what you think about any of that. I just want to close the podcast by talking about the last couple games we played and looking forward ahead to the season. So we played against Miami last night. LeBron's return to Miami, first time as a Laker. Dude, and LeBron just killed it. Like, you could tell he wanted to send some type of message to, not a message, but he just wanted to show out for Riley and Spoelstra and the Heat fans. Dude had 51 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, 6 of 8 from the three-point line. Now, when we talk about these three-pointers he's hitting, like I said earlier, this dude is launching threes from 30 feet away like it's nothing. Barely jumping, and they're in. If they're not swishing, they're just dropping right in there. They're on the money. He looked fantastic. Now, every win is a good win. Every win is a win you will take. However, for me, I actually thought this game against Miami I'm not going to call it a bad win, but it wasn't a great win to me. We won by 16, so we did kick that butt, but let me explain. What I saw last night was what I actually really do not want to see. And what that was is LeBron, all I saw was LeBron. I saw LeBron and KCP. Like, KCP was randomly hot. But think about it like this. So we beat the Heat by 16 points, and KCP had 19 points, which is just, I mean, that's not something we should expect. That's not anything he's been doing this season. I think he's averaging like 7 points a game this year. So hypothetically, if you were to take away KCP's 19 random points, or just cut it by, let's say he had 5 points instead, cut 14 points. That means our win against Miami, we only win by 2. Basically, it's a close game. It's a 50-50 coin toss. I didn't see much from anyone else. Now, Ingram did hit 2 big shots at the end of the game. But aside from that, like, it just literally looked like, I texted my friend, I was like, it looks like LeBron is a professional NBA player and everyone else on the team is a college player. And I don't like that, because this team is too deep to where, you know, not everyone should be utilized. Lance, 0 points. Lonzo, 2 points. McGee, 6 points. Hart, 5 points. Kuzma had 15 points, second on the team. Oh no, Pope 19 was second on the team. Kuzma's 15 points was third on the team, but I honestly cannot remember him scoring those points. I think it must have been in the first half or something. I think this team should be playing like very spread. Like, LeBron should get 30. I mean, if he gets 50, that's great. But I want to see everyone else engaged too. And a part of this, why I think it's turning like this, I don't know who, I guess I'll put it on Luke. We have literally no half-court offense in place. I not that one that I can see. Now, we're good cerebrally in transition and semi-transition. Like, everyone else had a play, so we look good when we're in transition. But in half-court sets, all I'm seeing is ISO ball. Like, I see LeBron ISO. I see Ingram getting on the wing. He ISOs. Now you will see those off-ball cuts by McGee and Kuzma, and LeBron will find them. Lonzo, he just launches threes. Like, he's not getting layups or anything in half court. He's attempting them, but he's not making any. But yeah, no, my thing is just with last night's game. Look, I love it. We won. We killed them. But I don't want this season should not turn into this team should not look like the Cavs last year, is my point. Like, where it's just LeBron and everyone else is kind of just looks like a JV player doing their role. Like, no. LeBron should be doing his thing. Ingram, Kuzma, these dudes should be doing their thing, looking like threats, offensive threats on the court. At least one other dude every night has to step up, whether that's on offense, whether it's Lonzo, Hart. I mean, Hart's going to do his thing. Pope. We need 2 extra guys. So LeBron, Ingram, and Kuzma should show out every night. And 2 other dudes need to show out on offense between McGee, Pope, Hart, Stevenson, Lonzo. But it just looked like it reminded me of like an old Kobe game where we had no one, like in 05, and it was like, it looked like LeBron was playing with like Chris Mim and Kwame Brown and Smush Parker. Like, I did not like that part of it, but I did love the win. Yeah, those are my comments about that game. Let's talk about the game before. Ugly game against Orlando. We got crushed by a trash team, which I hate. And these are the games we need to win. We need to rack up wins against Eastern Conference trash. Like, why are we losing to Orlando? 2 things from the Orlando side. Nikola Vucevic killed us. We had no answer for him. 36 points, 13 rebounds. And the other thing, at the end of the game, this was annoying, but DJ Augustine was just blowing by everyone at the end of the game. I mean, and it was Josh Hart mostly, but I don't blame Josh. I mean, Josh Hart to me is a good defender, but what we saw basically is Josh Hart might not be able to guard the fastest, speediest guys in the league. I mean, I'm not even that Augustine is like, I mean, with the ball, he was fast. Like, I watched him go from beyond the 3-point line to a layup in 2 seconds, it looked like. And he was killing us at the end. For the Lakers, yeah, just only high scoring leader was 22 points for LeBron. Lonzo 0 points, Kuzma 8 points, Ingram 17 points, 6 rebounds, 7 assists. That was good to see. Ingram had 7 assists, you know. Lance had 19 points, Hart 13 points. Yeah, so I mean, this game to me, this game was just trash. Actually, what am I saying? But one thing I thought that was really strange about this game, which again, look, LeBron has carte blanche to do whatever he wants. I'm telling you, there's nothing if Luke Walton tells LeBron to do something, if LeBron doesn't want to do it or he wants to do something else, he's just gonna do it. Like, I'm telling you, it's obvious. If you ever watch it's just obvious. And in this game, it was annoying the fact that like our starters barely played in the fourth quarter. I mean, you're playing against the Orlando Magic, who's not that good a team. Yes, they were up 15 to 20 at certain points, but like LeBron barely played in the fourth quarter. And then our bench did kind of cut it to 10 or so. And I mean, maybe it clearly was a game LeBron was just like, you know what, I'm just gonna take this. We just gotta take the L. I don't have the energy or something. Because I don't know, honestly, look, LeBron played 26 minutes. Like, he could have played even if he played a whole another quarter, 12 minutes, he would still be under 40 minutes in that game. He basically didn't play. Think about this. He played 26 minutes. One half of basketball is 24 minutes. So he really, I don't know. It was strange to me. I didn't like it. I don't like losing to Orlando, but whatever, it happened. The game. Let's do one more game. The game before that was the Blazers game. Now we played them three times already. We won 2 of them, right? Yeah, I think we won. Yeah, we won 2 of those. This was a pretty good game. This is a game LeBron. See here, LeBron had 44, 10 boards, 9 assists. 5 of 6 from 3, just ridiculous. But here we had 20 from McGee. We had 17 from Ingram. Lonzo hit double figures, 11 points. Pope, 13 points. Like, this was nice. I mean, this game, even though LeBron had 44, I didn't have the feeling like I had last night against Miami, where it was like a one-man wrecking crew type of game. Like, this Blazers game, I remember it being like a team effort. I liked it. So that was cool. And now we won't see Portland till the last game of the season. First place Portland, who we've beaten twice already. All right, let's look ahead to the rest of the schedule. See what's going to happen in the near future. So we play the Cavaliers on Wednesday in Cleveland. We will win that game. Bottom line. Then we play Utah on Friday. I feel like we usually struggle against Utah, but it's definitely a winnable game. I mean, definitely winnable. That's a home game for us. Then we play Orlando on Sunday, and we better win that game. There's no way on earth we're losing to Orlando 2 times in a row in a 10-game span. Like, and we're gonna win that game. Then we played the Nuggets on Tuesday, and that's at Denver. Always a tough place to play, but we did beat them earlier. And then we play the Pacers on Thursday, which that game could go, who knows about that game. But no, we can definitely, I mean, those are all winnable games for sure. So we'll see what happens. I do want to talk, seeing this Nuggets logo reminds me of the Nuggets game this year, which, other than the game last night, was to me the most exciting game. And in that game, man, Lonzo was so good that game. Like, he was so engaged, and probably my favorite play of the season so far happened in that game. If you remember Lonzo's step back 3 on Nikola Jokic to basically seal the win, that was so sick. Like, and what I love most about it, if you look back at that play, is that LeBron gave him the ball. Like, that is cool. And I didn't talk about it much on this podcast, but Lonzo and LeBron, they do have a good connection. Just like I think LeBron and Kuzma have a good connection, I think LeBron and Hart have a good connection. I do think the LeBron-Ingram connection needs some work or figuring out, but LeBronzo, I'm glad it's happening. If you've been following the podcast since last year, you know I was talking about LeBronzo since last November, a year ago. And that's one thing that's interesting about Lonzo. I'm just gonna finish the podcast with this. He's so, like, his potential is so high though. I mean, he's always so high or so low. Like, But that upside, it's crazy because if you remember that Nuggets game, he popped that three. You remember last year against San Antonio where he hit like 3 threes in the last minute and a half of the game to win it. I mean, there's so many players in the NBA that have never done things like that. Like Lonzo's already hit huge clutch shots in games against good teams, which it shows you like when he's engaged and able to lock in, like there's something really special inside that kid, and we need to get it out of him. Hopefully, you know, and it's clearly just going to take time. I said it last year. Both Lonzo and Ingram clearly are more projects than I think anyone anticipated. Well, I mean, Ingram, after his rookie year, you could definitely tell was going to be a project. But yeah, those boys, though, when they're 24, 25, I'm very interested. I wish I could have a time machine to see what Lonzo and Ingram look like when they're 25 years old. And why that plays so important part, actually, I'm going to end the podcast with this, is, Lakers, any trades coming? Oh, man, I think the Lakers need to go for the chip this year. Look, LeBron's not getting any younger. The Warriors potentially could implode. Now, if they were to implode, I don't think they're going to implode during the season. I think the Warriors will be fine this season. Once Steph Curry comes back, they're going to have the number 1 record in the West. But hey, you never know what could happen at the end of a season. And if the Lakers, just as Chris Broussard always says, there's no reason the Lakers can't be the second best team in the West. I'm not saying even record-wise to be the number 2 seed, but they're to me, I can't see. They can beat every team in a playoff series in the West, except Golden State at full capacity. But I don't know. I want to be there in case the Warriors blow it or something. And I can't, with the team right now, I can't see them. I don't know. I can't see this team beating the Warriors by any really. But if we got another player, a consistent player, a consistent, all-star level player, then who knows? I could potentially see us beating a Warriors team that's like not gelling or something. But we'll see. Anyways, that wraps up for this podcast. I will have more news about my app coming out in the coming podcast. If you're not following, follow me on Instagram at LakerMemes818. And I apologize for the podcast coming in so late, but I hope to be consistent with it now and at least do it once a week. And until next time, Laker Nation, let's get those wins. Peace. Shout out to the artist that made this beat. The artist name is Fleslet.